Hey, welcome back to the Convo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Johnny Sue is still spinning on those ones and twos. Hey, Johnny, how about for Halloween you become a engineer of a live stream show or something? What would we do that for?
Are you supposed to be funny? Because I don't really think
that was a really bad joke.
I'm trying
really
to say,
funny.
Are you getting... Carrie Mark says she's still in Facebook jail. Fiorella's they're trying to share as much as we can. Guys, go in there, share, like, subscribe, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I just got out of jail. I don't know why I was put in there, but it was probably, a neoliberal that put me in there.
You were a prisoner for Halloween. That's it. What are you right now? What do you got going on over here?
I don't know. I'm for Medicare for All. I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Dr. Fee.
That's the Medicare for All hat from the Berets in Washington. Yes. Laura Fielding leads them up. She made that for you. And I'm going to, when we talk Medicare, man, I'm going to go get mine and put it on and stuff like that. Hey, Zeus, I am supposed to be a librarian with the glasses. So, shh.
He's nobody.
Shh. Shh. Anyways, yes, I want to say thank you to our Patreons. We have 80 of them out there. And listen, after this show, we're going to do a little filming for our Patreon. For our Patreons only, Michael Cruz, because I know you're here, you put up a guideline, this one particular person's 13 steps or 12 steps. I think the first one is stop. You got to admit that you're an alcoholic or something. But these steps to why you should impeach Donald Trump.
Oh, I was confused.
I know. I was trying to. It's another bad joke from Pasta. My stupid corniness. But we're going to put that up for our Patreons. We're going to discuss why impeachment is good and why impeachment is bad for our Patreons only. So if you're not a Patreon, go on over there if you can. Help us out in any way. We always appreciate it on the couch. So let's get rolling and let's start talking some little business there. First thing to talking about is, since it's Halloween, we want to bring these other countries some America, some American vibes and some American love and some democracy. I'm not going to even say democracy anymore, just democracy. We're going to bring people. And we have to understand what's going on around the globe foreign policy-wise. It's the most power a president could have, thank you so much, is with his foreign policy decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like, in other words, we talk about this all the time. If Bernie Sanders becomes president tomorrow, it's going to take a little while to get Medicare for All working. He's going to have to go to commissions. People are going to have to come in the room. The bills are going to have to start whipping votes in Congress.
Doesn't lessen its importance.
No, not at all and stuff. But we understand the fact that it's going to be a big collective effort, and we're going to have to get what we can get, especially when it comes to a lot of our domestic policies. But,
I think it's going to take people actually demanding that still, even if he becomes president. You know what I mean?
There's work to be done. Let's be honest. The Berets have their work is to be done. They're going to have to get out in the streets and still march. And Bernie Sanders would have to go to the people and say, let's get out here.
Yeah.
This is what we want.
Because we can't get something like the ACA anymore. I mean, people are dying. There's no middle ground on that. I'm 100% Medicare for All. But your point is?
My point is that throughout that whole process, I mean, you're going to have to do all these things. You're going to have to take Dennis Kucinich on Air Force One and try to convince him of things. It's going to be a process, and it's going to be a work. But day one, if Bernie Sanders was president but Tulsi Gabbard worked for his administration, or Tulsi Gabbard was the president herself, troops home. We're pulling out of here, there, this, and that. So all that money, MMTers out there, all that money that you need for things, we can get that money on day one, because when it comes to the powers and foreign policies and what they can do as commander-in-chief, those powers and strengths are that much more higher than the things we need to achieve at home domestically. There are things they can do, through executive order and whatnot, but these foreign policy decisions, they could be, literally, snap your finger, we're closing down this bases, we're bringing these people home, that's going to save us billions of dollars, now we can go to work. Now how are you going to pay for it becomes, we have the extra money to pay for it. Right. So those powers mean so much more, you know what I'm saying? Those are the forces that kind of shoot people like John F. Kennedy in the face, or, Abraham Lincoln in the back. Those are deep, dark forces going to be pushing against that, but that is why I am starting the show today, and we asked to start it with the Hong Kong protest, because they lead into what, again, is our imperialism.
But, fam, I thought we were supporting democracy.
Democracy now.
Oh. Okay.
Democracy has the word dem in it, and I don't like the dem, so I'm talking democracy. I want some democracy with my America. And that's what they say. And in every single situation, I brought this book because I haven't talked about Ernesto in a while, and I love you, Ernesto. I hope you're watching and you can see this. And I haven't read the whole book yet, but I've got into this, and this is what called Now We Can Speak. And this was after the revolution in Nicaragua, where these people who were under this Somoza regime, which was funded by the CIA, and the things they went through. And what they went through in South and Central America, they used the same tactics in places like Hong Kong. Number one, they control and use the media. They always use the media to rile people up. But what they want to do, fam, is they want to destroy the country from within. They want to pit the people against each other, just like they did in Syria, so then they can come in, swoop in, grab all the resources, and make corporate profits for it. And if you don't believe me, just look at the videos of American troops. You know where they're driving to in Syria, Johnny? You know, I saw it on Mr. Mark Sloboda's Twitter today. They're driving into the oil fields. This ain't about democracy. This is about resources. This is about American imperialism. You know what I'm saying? And as long as China's a geopolitical enemy of the CIA, the deep state, we will cause problems. So there's an article we put up. It's by Sputnik News over here. And it says why the media is covering protests in Hong Kong and Chile so differently. Now, we know on this show, ladies and gentlemen, we've covered South and Central America. We watched Telesur America. We watched the Gray Zone. I almost said Greystone. We watched the Gray Zone. Well, Greystone was, Tarzan movie. But we watched the Gray Zone. We see what's going on here. The media is suppressed, independent media, when they put up these things. Remember when we were putting up all the Ecuador stuff? We were blacklisted, suppressed. Our stuff never came up. I put up Ecuadorian protest, and I couldn't even find us on the first 10 pages there, even on YouTube. And we were one of those people showing a lot of stuff what's going on in Ecuador, and the same thing in Chile. These people are
Chile.
up, fam. Chile. I can't say Chile?
No.
Okay. These people are protesting against
Chile.
austerity measures and United States involvement. And I cannot say this enough, that I am so proud of my brothers and sisters of South and Central America, the indigenous people standing up and knowing who their enemy is and knowing the influence that is put in there to keep them apart, fam. So just like in this country and any other country, they use the media, and the whole CIA mentality is to crush the society from within.
And just let's be very clear. I know Mark Sloboda, when we were talking to him about this, he wasn't saying that there's no organic fights in these countries, that these countries aren't starting organic protests. These are countries and populations that are already tense. It's not like the United States is controlling every aspect of it, but what the United States does and what the Western empires do is they create a bigger wedge. They come in and they make the situation worse, and they turn people against each other. So in that way, our interests are still served, and we take a side. And we take the side, obviously, that cooperates with ours. And then we vilify the other side. And it's the same thing over and over again. So it's not saying that some of these people didn't have organic and actual desire to protest, but it is saying that, we make the situation worse.
Yeah. And I was talking with a friend of mine today, and he said there's some things like, well, there was the organicness of the protesters were, number one, protesting against the suppression of China. Now, first of all, China really hasn't had an influence in Hong Kong in a long time, especially economically. I'm so sorry. I got to put my legs a little bit there. Especially economically. Yeah, I know. I do have it. I messed up today. Especially economically, they really haven't had a hand in there. They've really been going by a colonized kind of monetary system through Britain. And let me tell you something, austerity has hit them. They used to be 40% of China's GDP 30 years ago, excuse me. Now they're like less than 10% of the GDP. Homelessness is raised in Hong Kong. There's a lot of different generational gap problems. Like us, we can't afford to buy houses like our parents could and our grandparents could. A regular job, whether it be sweeping the sidewalks or doing something to help society on a smaller level, you could be able to sustain a family and do that. You can no longer do that in Hong Kong. So here's a younger group. They're pissed off. They really don't know what they're pissed off about, because the oppression of China, which was tied into the extradition law that China was going to enforce on them, was almost like immediately pulled back. So that law is not even into effect anymore. So that part of the protest should be over, but yet they're still there. Facial recognition stuff, people throwing it down, whatnot, don't want the censorship of the Chinese government, want to keep Beijing out of their thing. Well, China really hasn't superseded in there and gone and done that. Once again, they're going in this westernized kind of civilization. So that's not really there anymore. So why are the protesters still protesting there? Why? like Mark Sloboda said on this show. Some of these protesters got to watch footage of what went on in Kiev. They're not everybody protesters getting paid, but the leaders of these groups are getting paid to throw the fuel on the fire, to influence these people with their anger, these young Chinese people, these Hong Kongers, who can't buy a house, who can't do what their parents are, and turn them against society. Now, I want to show some of the footage of what's going on. And these are funded. I'm so sorry, because somebody shows up with a bag of helmets. Somebody shows up with a bag of gas masks and hands it to them. That money's coming from somewhere. Look at what they're doing now right here. They're beating up on a middle-aged man. Look at these young protesters. Johnny, you got to go back a little bit when he's elbowing. Look at him. The leg. Watch this one guy. They're kicking him. Hold on,
And did you have another video, or was that the... Okay, yeah. So we wanted to show the difference between how... Okay. Because that one's very...
Here, Hong Kong protesters throwing a Molotov. This tweet was from @Taro Taylor. After ransacking a private business with living quarters upstairs, Hong Kong protesters decided that it wasn't enough and decided to burn it down. Sounds like democracy to me. Yeah. So this guy's just throwing a Molotov.
Wow.
Another one was, here's Pasta's tweet. The NED has backed some of these thugs. This is what the elites are doing with your taxpayer dollars. When is enough enough?
But I guess like the opposition to that is to say that
Look, they're beating this woman over here.
Yeah, but is everything okay?
Yeah, the heater. We were
My heater?
The new heater. No, the new heater in the house. It's
okay.
okay. Sorry about that. So where were you guys at? I apologize.
Just this video right here.
Yeah. See, these are like, well, look what they're doing. Now, did you get to the one where they have the burning of the house, the burning of the whole thing, Johnny?
Yeah.
You showed that. Okay, so.
It was a store.
Yeah, with the living quarters above stairs. And to show you look what's going on over here. Now, I want to say this. Fam, we've done a lot of protesting in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone with a lot. Look at this guy. Oh, my Lord. And look. Look at this. And look at seriously, I'm so sorry that you're going to tell me that these are organic, loving protests beating up on your citizens around you. All the stuff that was burnt down were all these, look at that, small, come on. Look at them, they all got backpacks, they got gloves, they got everything. Somebody's fucking providing all this stuff. Look at that. That man's he's a danger. He deserves to be beaten. Look at this. And let me tell you something right now. Look at it. Look at that. Old man, you got to be kidding me.
And it gets really complicated, you guys, because there are really good protests, organic uprisings that are happening. No, I'm not. I'm saying in general in the world there are.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, like I said, that some of these haven't been organic, but I do believe there's a manipulation by the West for their interests, because we do this all the time. This is one example.
Yeah.
Venezuela is another example.
Nicaragua, we're doing it right now through taxpayer dollar, by the way. Nonetheless, let me just say that your money's paying for that. And the reason, and I'm sorry I haven't taken off, but fam, what I was getting at before is like, you're an activist. We were doing activist work, whatnot. You've been on so many marches, fam.
Mm-hmm.
Does any of the organic protests where you're out in the streets protesting for things, do they ever end up like that? Do they ever do that?
No.
Have you ever been around protesters And I'm telling you, you can go back and look at our old stuff. We would march with people who were walking and stuff in the streets. If somebody was throwing eggs down at us, we wouldn't retaliate or whatever. We would walk away from it or whatever the case may be.
The most you get is leftists calling the police Nazis. That's pretty much the most you get. Like, which I mean, I'm not gonna go there, but I'm not a fan of the police. So it's just. That's the most or like, yelling at ICE and yelling at these people and calling them, whatever, fascist or whatever. That's the most you get from the left. I mean, as far as violence goes, I haven't even seen Antifa do this sort of thing. And Antifa gets accused of a lot of things that are just not true. There's been far more violence on the side of the white supremacist side. But again, they're still a small minority. So.
What they're trying to achieve was the next thing I put up there on the doc, Johnny, because I also want to reiterate once again how the media is once again the Apple Daily, the anti-China tabloid owned by pro-U.S. oligarch Jimmy Lai. How many times have we said the name Jimmy Lai on this show, Johnny? For months now, we've been talking about Jimmy Lai. Prince cutout of police mask on Halloween in an attempt to encourage Hong Kong rioters to defy anti-mask law and clash with the police. The AFP's bureau chief promotes the ploy. So once again, they use the media. They use the media in all these countries. They did it in Brazil to paint a picture so they could throw Lula in jail. They did it in Nicaragua to turn the people against Daniel Ortega. And not to say that these these leaders, fam, I want to point that out with the exception of Lula because I'm not going to go there. But Nicaragua, I'm sure Daniel Ortega has done some things that aren't that great, but they have elections there. Vote him out. In Syria, once again, and now it's going crazy and stuff. Our intervention actually stopped the process of moving Assad out of office. Listen, if we had never got in, Assad wouldn't be the president today because they had a young uprising there, just like they do in Iran. When we intervene, we actually stop the organic process of letting these countries take control of their own lives and their own people. That is what we're doing, and people don't even ever talk about that. If we let them happen in a natural, inertia way, and there might be some bloodshed in some situation, there might be some people killed, but at no point can we ever intervene unless it's a humanitarian situation like, say, what happened in, the Congo, when we didn't intervene, because there was no oil there, and we let these people kill each other. Rwanda. Yeah. Why didn't we intervene there? Why? There was no corporate interest there. There was no money for us. So then we don't get involved. Yeah. So I'm not saying at any time we shouldn't intervene.
So many people were killed because we didn't care.
Because we didn't go into it. Yeah. So you can see characters like Jimmy Lai, who's an anti-Beijing, pro-Hong Kong separatist, money up the yin-yang, who's instigating all this stuff and using the media to do it. And the sad thing about it is right here, protests tip Hong Kong into an official recession as trade wars stings. Now, like I said, I reported, I think one protester has been killed. A couple protesters have died suicide ways and whatnot. They're trying to exploit this American woman who was arrested today. I think she joined the protesters. Nobody knows what happened, but they're trying to exploit the one situation. But really, who's paying the price, fam? It's all buses, train stations. You know what I'm saying? They're tearing down Hong Kong, small businesses. So the middle class and the lower class, the people who really, they're getting affected, not the elites in Hong Kong, the poor people. And what I see and what I see is an older man at home crying because his business was burnt down. And he has no way to make money now. A business he might have had for 30 years.
It is interesting, though, that the people in the United States and in Canada who are who are from there are actually very wealthy.
Yeah.
They're not like the protester. Like the young protesters are like a different class than the people in Canada. So I think that's what also causes the confusion is like the people that the nationalists, the pro-Chinese government people in the United States are very like anti. They have a sort of like a right-wing ideology, which I think plays into the notion that these protests are organic. But it just gets so complicated because there's so many things going on. Yeah. But the fact is, you always have to look at the funding.
You know what? I'm gonna say this too as well because Yeah, I understand why they get so conservative a lot of times, because the left has been so full of shit as a party. Really, I mean, they've been a part of this stuff all the time. Soros has done business with the Clintons and in the same camp, and his name is always coming up when you see these situations. It's about global dominance and imperialism, and the Democrats have been just as much a part of it as the Republicans, and that's why sometimes I think you see people go, you know what, I'm not even dealing with this shit. Who wants to stay in these parties? But once again, it's the middle and poor class that are suffering with these things, and we shouldn't be throwing fuel on the fire.
Were we going to show the difference between the Chilean and the Hong Kong
Well, we did
protest?
the art. We showed the article.
I thought it was a video. My bad.
There is no video, but the reason why we're just talking about it is, once again, they're suppressing all the stuff that goes in Chile. They're suppressing all the stuff that goes in Ecuador. They're suppressing all the indigenous people rising up, because they're rising up against American interest, against the IMF, against the banking, against the austerity measures. So we don't cover that. But China, you know what I'm saying, who wants to stay, they actually want to push this pro-colonization Western kind of monetary system and keep it in Hong Kong, to keep that wedge in between Beijing and Hong Kong, and that's why they cover it so differently, and that's what Dan Cohen was alluding to.
Yeah, mainstream media covers it differently.
Mainstream media covers it so
Absolutely.
differently. Now all the time you see the pro-democracy a protest of Hong Kong, but Chile, it's bad uprising.
Right.
Of you know what I'm saying? It's
right.
You know, like you said, your whole thing, what you said in the beginning there, you know, how they demonize and they pick sides and they make it so black and white. These things are so nuanced.
It's so complicated.
And I think we have a different level of understanding, especially when we start having people like Mark Sloboda here all the time, or talking to us and saying, plain and simple, there are protests that are organic there. It's just us throwing the fuel on the fire and furthering the wedge to make the society pit against each other, so that we can go in there and corporately steal all the resources, just like we're doing in Syria today.
Okay.
What resources are in Hong Kong?
Well, it's for. I feel like it's more about a power structure. I mean, it's China.
Geographically located,
China
so,
is a superpower, just like the United States, just like Russia. So, in my opinion, I believe it's more about the superpower situation than than what it is. Like again, like it's the same thing that's been happening forever. You know, either we're fighting each other or we're allies. But Russia and China have been allies for the majority of the time, and now when you have like countries like Saudi Arabia and Israel trying to grow their empires in the Middle East, it complicates things. Yeah. But we're seeing like what it's reminiscent of 1984.
Yeah.
So. And
Miguel Santiago says, thank you for watching, Miguel, silk in suits in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And it really, to tell you the truth, at the end of the day, I think Hong Kong is really what Fiorella said. It's more about it's geographically located in an area, which is great. It's an island off the water right there for shipping, all that stuff to go on. But it is more about keeping the superpower of China and Russia, both, since they're our geopolitical enemy, keeping them in distress, keeping them, you know what I'm saying, fighting with each other. And they've always used this island. Like we said, Hong Kong was an opium island at one point, and what was going on, it was like pretty much a British Navy base was over there too as well, American interest and stuff. So it was a lot of prostitutions, and it was pretty much the West playground at the expense of the Chinese people. And once again, China and Hong Kong, they should be left up to their own autonomy, or it should be up to them.
Okay.
Send some shout outs real quick.
Sure.
We have almost 100 people on the YouTube over here. Lou Waves, Philip Blair, Karen M, Baltazar. Okay, what's going on? Who else? I saw Michael Cruz there earlier. Rocky Bellinger's there. Squids McCracken. Carrie Mark. Carrie Mark is in Facebook jail.
It's okay.
We know what that's like.
The Zuck always puts all the good people in jail.
Burnt Offerings. How you doing? Karen M. And Death Sauce is over. We got a lot of people on the YouTube over there. Jesus Zamora, Saul, and Jamie 420 over on the Facebook. Ungi is there. Tony Humonic. What's up, Ungi? Oh, I got to get you my picks. Jackie Pagal. Steve Woolbrand, as always. Carl Hines. Fifi knows best. Elizabeth Bergen, Netherlands. How you doing? Dolores Piers is here as well. Thank you for the Convo Couch for coming on over. Fam, we were talking about fires. You got anything else to talk about when it comes to fires?
Yeah, so as many of you have seen, California is in a state of emergency declared by Gavin Newsom. And I want to talk about a couple of things here, because the progressive community is I don't even know if I can say the progressive community, but some on the left are still divided on what causes these fires and what is climate change. But one of the main causes of this particular fire has been discovered to be SoCal Edison Company. One of their transmission lines, they said, likely started the fire. And I just want to show Johnny like this little video that pretty much
Not
they
acknowledge
pretty much
that
show them.
SoCal Edison started this fire, or possibly one of their transmission lines, but SoCal Edison itself has admitted, it released a statement saying that fire could have started by one of their power lines.
Could have been, yes. They're saying they're not positive, and as I'm looking on the map, if you go between Easy Street and Tierra Rajada Road, there is a big Edison line right there, just about where that fire started.
All right, well, we'll bring you more on that.
So this is important because this isn't the first time that this has happened. This happens all the time. And not only that, but I don't know, John Graziano the other day on Twitter, Jon Snow, he was putting that they turned off his power and he had to go be in the dark because the power company is pretty much like demanding a certain amount of pay. They are holding people hostage without power. This is the United States of America here. And on top of that, when they start causing these issues, whether it's mistake or not, they also start exploiting these people by the insurance companies coming in and raising the what it costs for insurance. And so the coverage has raised for 350,000 California residents already. So because of the fires, if you remember in the summer, after that they started raising the freaking cost to pay insurance. So now it's not only can your house get burned down, but either you won't get insurance or it's going to cost you so much more.
Yeah.
And that is another way that these elites and these people and these corporations use to tragedies. It's called disaster capitalism. Like, you have a tragedy, I'm going to exploit it so I can make profit off of it, and it's totally okay because capitalism. And this is why I'm such an anti-capitalist, because this is what happens when you don't have any regulation. When you talk about a free market, it obviously isn't free. It just works for corporations more than anything.
You know, this PG&E stuff's been going on for a while too, fam. Didn't we go and protest at I believe Holden's office because he was thinking about giving PG&E a bailout when they started a fire a couple of years ago? I mean, this stuff's going on and on. All our energy needs to be clean, green energy, and it has to be public utilities owned by the states and the peoples. That's it. No more capitalist corporate interests should own any of our energy resources, because you know why? When they pull moves like this, they can freeze people out in the winter. Okay, they can hold them hostage. You know what I'm saying? And this shit is just ridiculous, and this is why I don't like the capitalism for everything as well. We have to have social entities within our country, and power should be one.
Of them. Absolutely. And I'm just going to read this, Johnny. I think I put the picture there. The California Department of Insurance has seen cases where homeowners were paying an annual premium of $800 to $1,000, but upon renewal saw increases as high as $2,500 to $5,000, a staggering rise of more than 300% in most cases. That is ridiculous. Your house gets burnt down, or part of it gets burnt down, and now not only do you have to pay for that, but now you have your premium next time it happens has increased tenfold. Yeah. And I mean, I just think it's disgusting. And I just want to point out to all the people that say that this is normal, we have more than 10 fires currently burning in California.
Yeah.
And
families call me from back east going, is everything okay?
I know.
I'm like, like where are you at? Anywhere in California, you could be under the smoking going on.
And that's the thing. The smoke is more of the problem. When you're inhaling that smoke, that really does damage to your lungs.
That
and
ain't good smoke to
so
inhale, fam.
Look at all these fires, Johnny. Like Easy
CNN,
Fire,
yeah,
Hill Fire, Getty Fire.
Because remember, Johnny's like, let's go over and see these fires. There's a list of them, Johnny, up there.
Yeah, if you want to go, we can go.
Up.
But they won't let you past a certain point for obvious reasons.
Oh, let him play the video. Look at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. Woo! Where's that? That's at Simi Valley. It's crazy.
Yeah, Simi Valley's not. I mean, it's not that far. The closest one for us, I would say, it's probably the Getty.
Simi Valley is like we're a little bit kind of like on the north of LA, so we can hit over the 210 and kind of go over there and stuff like that and stuff. Johnny, can you scroll down to the list they have on that same page? I believe it's on that. If you just go down, you can see them all. If you go all the way down, Easy Fire, Hill Fire, Getty Fire, which was right down the road. Kincaid Fire. What else we got? Palisades Fire. Jesus Christmas. Taboos Fire. Old Water Fire. Caples Fire. Burris Fire. Saddle Ridge Fire. Tick Fire. Fam, the way to do this is if we want to help the climate change activists, we take the power out of their hands. We make it public. We should have, like, the public banking, public utilities all across the country demanded, and it all has to be clean, green energy. We kill two birds with one stone. We eliminate the corporate entity that's been screwing us over, and we help the freaking planet by using marijuana.
Absolutely. And this sort of raises the question, is it going to be habitable for people to live in California? Because apart from the fires, we have earthquakes, as we've seen, some of the strongest this year so far. And so people are wondering, like, is it really is it likely that we stay here? And a lot of people, like to say that this isn't a thing, but I want to show some of this video so you guys know what it looks like to these
like
people
Common
near
Dreams? Common Dreams?
No, now the video.
Yeah, it's right there, right? That's on Common Dreams.
It's
there.
Below.
It is.
Yeah, that one. I don't know why that thing is there.
These ad blockers all the time.
But I just want to say that there's a research that shows that fires have gotten 500% more risky as a result of climate change, and 2 times more of the area has burnt.
Nice. Crazy. Yeah.
It's not nice.
No, I mean, it's just nice. I mean, great, PG&E, let them do what they want, right? No. Sure. Give them a bailout. Terrible.
This is horrible. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm so scared. Holy oh my God. Oh, I need to get the
That's on the highways you drive by. Look at them just driving by the fires.
Oh my God.
People don't realize how bad they are. They jump highways. I
think that's a thing. You don't really think it's going to be
That's in Los
that
Angeles.
big of a deal. It's always like, oh, they happen all the time. But I think I haven't seen it happen this frequently since I've been here this long.
Well, once again, I think last time when we thought that PG&E freaking was the one who kind of we were protesting Holden.
When there's a mandatory evacuation, listen to the experts. Save not only your own life, but don't put our first responders in harm's way.
Look at that. They're all over California.
Yeah, it's like up and down the state. All right. I just want to say too that the obviously has recently come out and as a cause of it, but a lot of the things that are happening aren't being told by the media, because the problem is a lot of people think people are being alarmist and blah blah blah, but the thing is, this is a reality. When these things happen, it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, everybody gets burnt down. But the problem is, after, what happens is the poor people are screwed because, like I said, these insurance companies exploit them. They don't have the money to always rebuild. And so then it creates a bigger sense of inequality, because the poor people obviously can't come back as easily as, Miley Cyrus when her mansion was burnt down. I mean, it really does matter. And a lot of this that's coming to terms now is caused by the drought, which is caused by the exploitation of our resources, which is exacerbated by the earth warming up. And it's just one thing after the other. Again, like everything in politics, this is connected. And I think science isn't something that is political. Like, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be science. And I think when people say things like, oh, well, this is cyclical, it's like, well, obviously things happen in cycles, but not to this extreme. And to deny that is to deny reality. I've lived here for a while now, and I've seen the progression. I also come from Florida, where I've seen the progression of hurricanes and how they've intensified in the last few years. And so what do we do? What do we do? What is the solution? I think what we can do, like the kids on the Sunrise Movement are doing, is to go and demand these people actually do something about it. Nancy Pelosi is still there, saying that she's the leader of the Democratic Party, that she's, progressive, calling herself a progressive, but refuses to listen to kids, just like Dianne Feinstein. And so the climate activists have gone to Nancy Pelosi's office and have pretty much demanded that you need to do something about it, and we're going to occupy your office until you do. And it's pretty much going to take people to do that.
Yeah.
And by the way, Greta Thunberg will be here tomorrow, and I'm going to go cover that for us as well. So.
Yeah.
But fam, did you have anything else to say?
Well, this is an argument that goes on for a long time. And I told you right now, I'm done with trying to convince people who don't believe in climate change that climate change exists. I've moved on from that point because, and there's a picture of Nancy Pelosi and the people who pretty much occupied her office. You can see that, and they should.
There's, what's his name? Gabby. Gabby's there. Mm-hmm.
Gabby is there? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. And here's the thing, like I said, we shouldn't have a climate debate because we already know the people who are involved. We already know the people who are doing these things. Nancy Pelosi's son, Paul Pelosi, has an oil company business who's in Ukraine fracking the hell out of it. We're going to listen to Nancy Pelosi. That's our leader. I'm sorry, but Barack Obama was the fracker in chief. Oh. And now Donald Trump has become a crazy, even more fracker, whatnot. So I kind of taken this Kevin Kinsinger approach of trying to find other ways. And the one thing that I love to say, now, first of all, when it comes to this whole situation, there's some that is created by Mother Earth, and there's some that's created by corporate interest. Right. We have to, number one, eliminate the corporate interest problems that come along with it. In other words, the laziness of not upgrading their stuff out there, their equipment, their materials and whatnot, and have caused not only this fire, but another fire. And where there is smoke, there is fire. And PG&E has been accused by many people at many times. There's a couple documentaries out there right now that they have caused some of these fires itself. And that has to be a no-go. They shouldn't get a bailout. They should be shut down, sued, and never operated in the state again. We need to make all our utilities public when it comes to energy. That's number one. But number two, when it comes to the climate debate whatsoever, I try to hit by two areas. Number one, talk about the financing of it. And where there's all this money that could be made in green energy. And number two, oil doesn't mix with water. If you don't believe we're burning in the air, whatever, but all these oil leaks, because guess what happened, fam? The Keystone Pipeline, I think, leaked again today. Right. So I try to go the no oil in water kind of mentality is where I'm trying to hit. Because believe you me, you can tell them that the sky is blue and they're going to argue that it's yellow. Till they're blue in the face. And even you said, like, that's something you can't. Why can't people look at science? They're denying the science. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to win with them. So I stick to the oil argument. Keep our water clean. And when you frack and when you drill oil, you dirty our water and we can't have it. There's other ways of energy. We can get it from the sun, from the currents, from the wind. There's technology out there we know from like Tesla and more other areas where we don't have to be using burning coal and burning oil. It's not necessary. And it is kind of it's the one part I feel it's very hypocritical from a lot of people on the right and conservatives who always say they believe in individual responsibility. Not all, but certain that say they believe in individual responsibility but want to take no responsibility for the oil and the dirt we're burning and the toxins we're putting in the air. Whether we know for a fact or not, let's take responsibility for it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you're not going to take responsibility for something you don't believe in.
Yeah.
So, and also, like, if it's all about immediate gratification, like, whatever, I'm going to get mine. I don't care about the lesser generations and,
Let me do a quick shout out. Real quick. I know we want to get to the next topic over there. What show would be complete on the Convo Couch without talking a little bit about Elizabeth Warren? Still the same people there. David Crow is on. Thank you so much. Everybody else who we said hello before, still there. Squids McCracken, Miguel Santiago. Happy birthday, Miguel Santiago. Happy birthday, Lauren Hamill. We missed her birthday. These a couple days ago.
Yeah, I told her.
Happy birthday if we missed your birthday. We love you out there. And thank you to our Patreons. Like we said, we're going to do a little episode of Does Trump Deserve to be Impeached, yes or not, right after there. So we'll get to it. Fam, next topic. What are you talking about?
Wait, hold on. Before we move
Johnny Sue's
on,
got something.
you know who's fighting all these fires?
Who?
Well, yes, the prisoners who are getting paid like cents.
Them too. The fire departments, volunteers,
Yeah.
and they are using prison labor.
Of course.
Kamala Harris
Thank you,
style.
Kamala Harris. Yeah.
To fight these fires.
Yeah. So then LeBron he sent a taco truck to first responders.
Oh, that's nice.
That was
awesome.
interesting.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, doing what you can.
He knows the good taco
doesn't
trucks
hit
already. He ain't been in LA long
yeah, it doesn't
enough,
make
man.
a dent in your wallet if you can do it, you know.
It
So Wall Street. Speaking of money, Wall Street is not fearful of Elizabeth Warren. Now, a lot of people like to paint Elizabeth Warren as the fighter against Wall Street, but the reality is that Wall Street has decided that Elizabeth Warren is very similar to Obama, that she's not as bad for stocks as some investors fear. And basically they said that people forget that she's not different than Obama. If you put the two of them side by side, they had very similar agendas in 2007: healthcare, regulation, and financial and energy and environment. So this is what I want to point out about this. Elizabeth Warren may seem good on paper, just like Obama with his hope and change, with his like, I'm gonna campaign on these like populist ideas. The problem is, if she is just like Obama, which she seems like she is, she's also not going to follow through with any of the things she's saying. So she can be pro-environment, she can be pro-healthcare, but already she's backing up of healthcare. Already she's talking about green bombs. Already she's continuing to work with the complex, the military-industrial complex, and taking money from Raytheon and these defense manufacturers. So am I really going to believe that she's going to follow through with these things that she's so, touts like she's the same as Bernie Sanders? No, I don't believe that for a second, because I feel that she's profiting off of insurance, the existence of insurance companies, which is why she's backtracking. Her family's profiting off of it.
Yeah.
She's profiting off of the military industrial complex. If she were to be president, she wouldn't deal with the military. She would like completely just be focused on domestic, and she would let some neocon run the military, our military and our foreign policy, and it would get worse.
Probably.
Because she wouldn't even know what to do. She's so inexperienced. Genuinely, like, I'd rather have any other person, a lot of other people who have at least some experience in foreign policy be running that.
Yeah.
And I feel like she would just make it worse. And so when people try to convince me and anybody that Elizabeth Warren is some sort of going to be okay, would be so much better, I 100% disagree, because of her lack of understanding in foreign policy, and that is so important.
And I think the people like the Michael Brooks out there and
God.
the Bill Maher's, who are still kind of feeding you the same type of recipe which handed us Donald Trump, who really just, they want Donald Trump removed because it just feels good. They don't want to promote the fact that Elizabeth Warren won't help poor people on the street. It won't help our foreign policy to continue to feed that beast. The same thing that handed us Donald Trump is just a losing recipe. And you should stop and switch and be a real progressive and start fighting for change. You should be telling the DNC and the corporations that if they continue to kind of try to feed us the same thing, they're going to end up with Donald Trump. Not take the other side and try to vote chain people into going, oh, Elizabeth Warren is better than Donald Trump, and you need to check yourself if you don't know that. No, it's not. It's the same thing that handed us to Donald Trump. It's over. It's not going to win again. It will never win. It's different times, and we need to move on. We need to push for a real progressive and nothing less, because if we put another Elizabeth Warren back in there, the next Donald Trump, because Elizabeth Warren is like another Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, we're going to be in deep shit next time.
And the thing is, like, people need to stop just looking at the freaking stock market. Elizabeth Warren is an expert in markets. Like, she believes in them. She has said it many times. She can be an expert in markets. What good does that do to us? People invested in markets are people with money.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to see the majority of millennials investing in the stock market right now, because they don't have the money to invest. And the stock market only tells you the people, the monies that are invested in the economy. You're completely ignoring this is why Donald Trump, when he says that everything's great, he's entirely wrong. You're completely ignoring that the working class has to hold several jobs to make ends meet, that they're not making money, that they're barely surviving, that the rent is skyrocketing, wages are stagnant, and a $15 minimum wage isn't doing enough because of the high tax rates for small businesses and all the tax cuts going to the top. So it's not just about doing like band-aid solutions. It's about actually changing the entire system and the way it operates. We have a super chat.
Yes, we do. Kevin B. Postal, will you be doing a deep dive into the recent docs of the finding group Epstein didn't kill himself? Love the convo couch. Kevin B. That will be a yes. I also got some other stuff I got a hold of. Thank you to the people who out there. Val, who sent us some stuff, some videos, and we went deep diving on some of the areas you made us look at, and it's kind of interesting. I think the whole argument between it looks like he was killed or he killed himself is still a distraction to what's going on. The fact that nobody's been arrested, Ghislaine Maxwell, Prince asshole Andrew, all these people are just roaming free, Les Wexner, and we're finding more ties, and we're going to continue to find more ties, and it's disgusting that none of these people have been brought to light. I think it's a distraction, and we will get to that. But I don't want to get off Elizabeth Warren just yet. Because you got something over here too as well, right?
Well, Bernie Sanders, contrary to Elizabeth Warren not wanting to go to the Fox town hall, he went, and contrary to her not going into a place like Joe Rogan and talking to people that might disagree, Bernie Sanders has done both. And a Fox News viewers poll showed that Bernie Sanders is more likely to be supported by those Fox News viewers than viewers from MSNBC, which isn't really surprising to me if you've been paying attention, but it is surprising to a lot of people on the left. And the problem is that you believe that if you talk to your echo chamber, that's going to make a difference. No, the difference is made when you talk to people you disagree with, people you may even vehemently disagree with. And unfortunately, somebody has to do that. And when candidates do that, when you see people like Tulsi Gabbard or Bernie, they're the only two that actually do that besides maybe Andrew Yang, Williamson. I've seen very, very few of them actually go and talk to the other side, that the what is it, like the deplorables that they like to call them, right? And Tulsi Gabbard spoke out against that. Like, sure, there are some people that are awful and racist and deplorable, but a lot of people are just ignorant or just are scared economically. I'm not saying that voting for Donald Trump is okay just because of that. There is some sort of rationale you have to have. There's some sort of fear you don't have to have. I mean, it's going to be more unlikely for an immigrant to vote for somebody like Donald Trump, but it does happen. It does happen. But I just wanted to say, it is important that people like Bernie Sanders and we understand that he does get some of the Republican support because he did go into those places that Hillary Clinton refused to go into because he was talking about the economics of it. He was talking about, we need to talk to these people. They've suffered under this economic system. The Clintons ignored it. They completely just went to their elite class. And that is what made a lot of people vote for Donald Trump. And until we understand that, we're going to repeat the same mistakes.
Yeah, and if Bernie Sanders becomes president, he's going to become their president too, the people on the right. And that's why it's so important. And it just makes me think about the modern day Democratic Party. You know what I'm saying? It's like when I think about these situations and I said that was it for Elizabeth Warren. I almost called her Hillary Warren or Elizabeth Clinton. But that was the end of it right there. When she refused to go on the Fox and talk to those people, I said she will never, ever win the general election. Right there. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Not just the fact that she's bad on foreign policy, has no experience, which you talked about earlier, but she refuses to talk to the other side, where Bernie Sanders will do that. And when we talk about the modern day Democratic Party, it makes me think about what's going on here today. The neo-progressives, instead of forming alliances with the progressive people who they might not see eye to eye with, those people who like Tulsi Gabbard, those people who might be moderates or outside the party, but they chose to turn to the left and pander to the establishment and give in to the establishment.
They're turning to the right. Let's be very clear. Well, they're going further to the right. Yeah,
exactly.
They're not turning to the left.
And
they're turning to the right.
In a situation like a Katie Hill, who I've called Katie Shill before. I didn't like her whatnot. I didn't like her policies. Yeah. But had they formed that bond, instead of calling us trash and telling her we were trash for supporting people like Tulsi Gabbard, had they accepted that and formed some form of alliance, they could have used us nowadays to go out and speak out for Katie Hill. If Katie Hill would come out and apologize, and today was her last speech on the floor, and let's make no mistake about it, it's leadership that's making her.
Oh, absolutely.
It's leadership within her own damn fucking party. Oh, yeah. That same leadership that allows Joe Biden to still be a candidate instead of turning their back on this man. is making a person like Katie Hill who made a mistake. If Katie Hill came out, sorry Katie Hill, I shouldn't say that anymore. If Katie Hill came out and apologized for what she done, and there was a bond between these progressives and neo-progressives, the one who turned her back on us and called us trash, she would still be in office today. I wouldn't vote for her next election. I'd probably look for somebody a little bit more progressive, but we would have forgiven her for what she's done. But they didn't make those alliances within the party. And that's the same thing that's going on here. Bernie Sanders is showing the example that you go and you talk to the other side. You don't push them out. You don't give them the Heisman.
Right.
Elizabeth Warren turned her back on people that she's saying she wants to be their president for.
Yeah.
It's never going to
They're
work.
not going to vote for you. And what are you going to do when you get to the general? You're just going to pivot entirely?
Never work.
You just look like a fraud at that point. You just look like a fraud. And, and I'm just sick of people telling a bunch of, and I see it online more than anything. I don't really see it on the ground as much, but I do see it online telling Tulsi supporters that, they should just give up and they should just all endorse Bernie and they should vote for Bernie. It's like, guys, first of all, number one, you're assuming that these people were going to vote for Bernie in the first place. Many of them would have voted for Trump or not voted at all. Number two, you're assuming that you have the right to tell anybody how to vote. I recall in 2015 and 2016 when the Democratic Party told us that Bernie had no chance, we shouldn't vote for him, that we should just go and endorse Hillary, otherwise Trump would be our fault. That's the same mentality that you're employing, and I don't support that kind of mentality as a Bernie supporter. They have every right to vote for whichever candidate they want. I don't agree with Yang on a lot of his policies, but if people want to vote for him, that is their right. I'm not going to vote shame people. This is the primary. This is the opportunity to do that, and that is I mean, at the very little bit of democracy we have, that is something that we should be supporting. And again, instead of seeing the allyship that can come between Bernie, Tulsi, and even Yang, even though I don't really consider him a progressive, you can still build some sort of allyship, and these votes can go to Bernie Sanders because he is the leader right now. I mean, let's be real. Looking at polls and saying, supposing that they're real, he's leading as at least for progressives in the polls. So has got the biggest shot. Do you really think that by vilifying and maligning and insulting the other supporters whose votes would preferably go to Bernie over Biden, Warren, and any of these people is going to make it easier for us? No, it's not. And already Tulsi Gabbard has shown her loyalty before. So I really don't understand the whole fear of, oh my God, she needs to drop out and the feeling threatened by this woman, because if anything, she's an ally and she has shown it time and time again. And you don't have to agree with every single policy she has. I don't. Yeah. But at the same time, you do have to see the value in understanding how this process works. And how this process works is they put in so many candidates in order to dilute the field so that Bernie Sanders doesn't get there. The superdelegates are already planning to vote. They're doing everything they can to make sure he doesn't get there. And he's going to need people on his side. And these people aren't going to be there if you treat them like crap. Yeah. So I'm asking all burners to stop doing that, because you're pretty much doing the work of the establishment. I mean, this is why the left often loses. We eat ourselves up. Yeah. It's disgusting.
Well, what is the difference would it be for Elizabeth Warren as opposed to Donald Trump? What benefits that when they say, oh, you have to get involved, you have to elect Elizabeth Warren over Donald Trump, where they're saying that you had to elect Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. What really are we going to benefit from that? How much more games? Oh, it's going to be so much better. No, and for the people who are vote shaming people to try to have that mentality, shame on you. Shame on you, Bill Maher, Michael Brooks, Sam Cedar. Shame on you, David Dole. Shame on you, people, for doing that. So now, yes, I'm calling you out by name because you are the trick, not the treat for Halloween, my friends. And to see what you guys just do. And to people who, when they go to Milwaukee and they talk about these people who didn't vote because they don't think their vote counts and their lives did not improve under the neoliberal austerity of a Barack Obama, they're not going to want the neoliberal bad foreign policy of Elizabeth Warren. And that's a problem, too, with a lot of those commentators we just talked about. They suck at foreign policy.
No, they don't just suck. They have no clue. They don't pay attention to it. They never talk about it. We are one of the few channels, besides Nico House, that talks about foreign policy. Yeah. We really are. There's just the gray zone, Max Blumenthal, all those people. That's it. Everybody else just focuses on domestic. And I'm a huge proponent of Bernie's domestic policies, 100%. But we need to start paying attention to what's happening outside because it affects so much of our domestic economy. It affects so much of the future. We can't just look at the move one step ahead. If we're playing a game of chess, we're looking 5 moves ahead, 10 moves ahead. And the reality is, even though an Elizabeth Warren might be better as far as maybe like not having derogatory language like Donald Trump has, maybe, she wouldn't be pushing the immigration issue or a wall as much, which is a huge thing. Maybe she wouldn't, but is she going to continue creating those wars that lead to the same immigration crisis? Yes.
Yes,
and that's
She'll
the
never
thing.
change that.
Like, that is a solution, abandoned solution. We should absolutely work with the immigration crisis we have now. We need to fix it. We need to have a pathway to citizenship. But if you don't cut off the faucet that keeps bringing in these people, then you're not solving anything. And you have to be able to think like that. You have to be able to connect the pieces. And I don't feel like a lot of the news is doing that yet.
Yeah, no, I think most of the news is not doing that. Patrick asked the super chat contribution, says, "Is that better?" Patrick, is what better? Can you answer that?
He super chatted on MCSC, and I told him to come over here to come.
You know what? I'm so sorry I didn't get the MCSC network. Was that the only super chat over there?
Yeah. All it said was, "Stay strong, fam."
Let me go over there real quick, over to the MCSC network real quick. I am so sorry. I'm just so used to, fam, that he had that strike. He was off the air. I think they rescinded it. We got 74 people watching over there, too, as well. Thank you so much. Wooly Minx, Kevin Toohey, Sir Jamie, Matt Erst, Inge. Did I miss anybody else over here? Thank you so much for anybody who joined us anywhere. We appreciate you. And we are listening to you out there as well. What's that?
Let's do the Patreon.
Okay.
Oh, so we're going to do the Patreon thing. Yes. Okay. So, fam, do we have anything to do about the whole situation? Is that it?
No, that's it. Yeah.
So,
we gotta get going.
Elizabeth Warren, bad. Tulsi Gabbard. Never mind. I was doing a little skit from that stupid movie, Happy Gilmore. Love that movie. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking for my Patreon list real quick. We do have some beautiful Patreons we want to mention today for the month for our Patreon. And we're going to do this. We're going to do a little video, too. We're going to put up on our Patreon. Does Donald Trump deserve to be impeached? Should we impeach Donald Trump? Go over to our Patreon and join if you'd like to see it. So here we are. The list of Patreons for this month. And since it's the last day, we have Daisy Chacon, Michael J., John Perry, Cheryl Tyler, Kathy Lloyd, Kim from the Mitten, Jay by himself, Jeffrey Hyde, Two Leister, we love you too, Christoph Kamanon, Steve Ingle, Burns Lawler, Roxon, Charles Barrett, Kashwarbi, Kate, thank you so much, Alan Higgins, Andrea Trust, Randy Aronoff, Blaze Dones, Devin Diakin, Ishmael Hala. Thank you to our Patreons. We love you so much. 80 of them, fam.
Thank
80.
you, guys.
80,
that is
and that
amazing.
is such a treat, not a trick. 80 Patreons. Thank you so much for joining on in,
Thank you,
guys.
You guys are amazing.
Hey, we got glitter going down. That's for you guys. So, fam, what's going on tonight? Anything fun?
Fam. So tonight, fams, I'm going to be dancing with the Bernie Metro Squad at the Hollywood Parade in West Hollywood. And we're going to be doing some dancing. We have Pramila Jayapal saw us dance, and she liked it. She was like, "Oh, nice!" And she came and took a picture with us last time. So, yeah, that's really cool, Johnny.
There it is. Yeah.
This is my favorite song for Halloween.
Your Michael Myers
stuff,
right?
Yeah, I love Michael Myers.
Gabriel Ramirez just joined.
Yes, I love a serial killer. He's great.
My favorite horror movie was the original Nightmare on Elm Street. What was your favorite original horror film, ladies and gentlemen? Or you could pick one that was remade. I think the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
I liked The Sixth Sense when I was young.
You like The Sixth Sense?
Yeah, but once you see it, it's like, okay.
It's kind of cool.
Now you know that I didn't see it coming the first time.
I see dead people. It got me the first time.
Yeah, like I didn't know he was dead.
Look at the dog. Oh, we got the best Halloween costume right there.
Oh
yeah.
A Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favorites, though.
Can you believe I never saw that?
You've never seen that?
I heard it was amazing.
Holy crap, Pasta.
All right, we got Aliens. Somebody said Aliens. Hollywood biatches.
I'm sorry, he makes fun of me for not seeing movies like Friday, but he's never seen The Nightmare Before Christmas. That's like that's like the biggest millennial movie. Like Jonathan used to watch that like on repeat all the time.
Old Gringo, you said the other day, I wonder if pasta cooks. I'm going to be a chef tonight for Halloween. I'm going to cook some food.
I wonder if pasta
Old Gringo.
cooks.
Lou Waves says, I am too Leister. Love Waves, says he is too Leister. Too Leister, we're reading some of your stuff on our Patreon today. Thank you so much. We love you. Squids McCracken like Aliens. You ever see the original Aliens?
Yeah.
Aliens was the second one to Alien. The original Alien was a Sigourney Weaver. Aliens was like an action-packed horror film.
It wasn't
where it had what's his name, the guy who plays Bill Paxton. What the hell are we gonna do now, man? We're screwed.
You know what's scary to me? The demon movies, or the movies that are like about ghosts. Like there was Jonathan gets scared by The Fourth Kind, which was about the alien abduction. He literally freaks the hell out of it.
That was a really creepy movie.
It was.
The Mothman Prophecies was
based
pretty
on a
creepy.
true story.
What about the Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
Oh, I
That's
don't
a
like
good
clowns, you guys.
That one was
so if you want to scare me, send me a clown picture because I don't like them.
Carrie Mark likes
It
Night
was
of the
kind of
Living
like-
Dead. Gene Cavendish likes
I
the
love
Boogeyman.
zombies.
Ooh, the Boogeyman. Squids McCracken did like Aliens. We mentioned that. What else do we got? Dracula. You know what's one of the best movies
I
too
love
as well?
vampires.
The Bram Stoker's Dracula. That was like a love story. Oh, Johnny, put that
Oh,
down.
stop, Johnny.
Oh, that's freaking out, Fiorella. Look at that
That's
thing.
disgusting.
And he would get you
so
in a,
annoying.
he would
I'm
get
gonna
you
put
in
an
a
alien in the
Ah!
screen. Jonathan gets scared of the grays, the gray aliens.
He would put you in a cotton candy cocoon, then suck the blood out of you. That's what they would do. These things.
God,
They would
they're
eat
so
you.
creepy. You know why they creep me out? Because they're so happy. Like nobody's that happy. Nobody's that happy. It's probably a serial killer in there. I don't know. It just creeps me out.
Somebody said that today that Hillary Clinton was dressed up as the Wicked Witch of the West.
She doesn't need to dress up, you guys.
Halloween 3 says Jeffrey over there. Anybody on the MCSC network, you got a good favorite horror movie film you guys like? Texas Chainsaw Massacre says Eddie.
I like
And
that movie.
Ooh, the original Exorcist. Saul, what are you doing over there? You're supposed to be on our channel, Saul.
I laughed. I laughed in the original Exorcist because then she starts talking about his mother.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Dude,
damn.
the first Exorcist was really, really creepy. I felt vulnerable into that because I was a Catholic and I believed that. Oh my God, I could get exorcised if that makes sense.
I think you still do need it, fam. Let me bring the Ouija board. Pasta won't let me bring the
Johnny, no Ouija board for you, Johnny. You got anything else to add? Because people want more airtime. They say give Johnny Sue more airtime. What is your favorite horror movie, and which one do you not like to watch because it scares you the most?
When I was a kid, Signs.
Oh yeah, that scared
with
him.
Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah.
That scared the shit out of me because of this video right here.
Go ahead, put it up. Let's show this one here.
The startling footage we're about to show you was photographed by a 42-year-old, Romero Valadares. This video was taken yesterday afternoon at his son's 7th birthday in the city of Passo Fundo, Brazil. It was sent to the local news bureau there and sent to us via satellite just a few minutes ago. All initial opinions are this is genuine. What you're about to
That's
see
going to be us when the aliens come.
Nah, let's start, man. I never saw this.
Oh yeah, it's a good movie.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Where is it? Where is it?
It's coming.
going on?
It's coming.
Move, children. Vámonos.
Ah!
I just laughed.
Look at it. It's chameleon alien.
That's Jonathan's like nightmare.
I think they pause on it. There it is.
It's a guy in an alpha. That's scary. Come on. That scared you?
Well, though, when you watch the whole movie and they build up to it, it's like they're like, oh, you need to have water around, and like, especially when you're younger, it's like, and there's a field where there's like, it's the cornfields. You remember they still haven't figured out how they did the corn mazes.
No.
You
Okay,
guys,
listen.
Still, you want to talk conspiracy
Get
theory?
outta here.
They have not figured out how those things appeared in fields overnight. Like, So they try to do it. And you could do it, but it's very hard, and it requires a team of people to fucking do these. I'm telling you guys, like,
Sammy
look it up.
Escamilla says The Nightmare on Elm Street was the scariest as a kid. And the one when you went to sleep, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4. And Johnny Depp was in it. Really scary. Fucking, like, I was afraid to go to sleep because I thought if I went to sleep, Freddy Krueger's going to come get me. But then in Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 2 and 4, they made Freddy out to be like a popular character. And it was like the Dream Warriors.
It's weird.
Rock and roll
stuff. It got really 80s, right? It was really 80s.
But it was really good if they just left it by itself, because they left Freddy Krueger very mysterious. He didn't speak as much. He didn't have as much dialogue. Then he became a rock and roll character, and they ruined the movie. Carrie Mark talks about The Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone was actually a movie where kids and some people died on sets. That was the movie. I told you, the Twilight Zone movie.
Too.
What's that?
Poltergeist Curse, too.
Well, everybody from Poltergeist died eventually. That alien was Jeffrey Epstein, says Chalk Talk Warrior. That's who he is.
You know what Learn Hand said? He said, The Truman Show was the movie that freaked him out the most.
Oh, I get it. I love that movie. That's one of my favorites.
Is that with Jim Carrey?
Yeah, that's when
because it was like this whole fake.
Squids McCracken was like, that was Matrix Light.
Nah, dude.
True. All
right, we got to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. We got some stuff to do. We have some appointments to go to. Fam's got to get into her full
Fam's
outfit.
got to get me gotta get a pumpkin.
Yeah, I got to go get a pumpkin before I do. More Johnny Sue, says Ungie over there. We love you, Ungie. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, don't forget to go over to our Rockfin, ROKFIN. In fact, I think Johnny will put this video up on our Patreon, and we'll put it up as a premium on Rockfin. They're the two areas. If you want to see me and Fiorella talk about why we think or don't think Donald Trump, featuring Michael Cruz's video that he sent us on why he should be impeached or not should be impeached, go ahead and join our Patreon. If you can help out anything, we appreciate everything. That's why we ran those names. And to some people that we haven't reached out to, we'll get out there. We're very, very busy. We're overwhelmed. We try to read as many comments as we can. We have emails and stuff, so we do try to keep up on it, and we'll try to do a better job as well in the future. But we do appreciate and love all our Patreons. I think we can all definitely say that. For Pasta Jardula
and Fiorella Isabel,
Johnny Sue is on the 1s and 2s. Give me that pumpkin dance.
Happy
one
Halloween,
more time.
you guys.
Get this guy. Oh, yeah.
Send Johnny pictures of aliens out at the CONVO couch at gmail.com.
Send clown pictures.
Hit up our Twitter. Hit up our Twitter, our CONVO couch Twitter, too. We love you.
Bye, guys. CONVO out.
CONVO out.